Hi everybody, and welcome to Tomato Gems. In today's video, we decided not to show you how to make a typical Italian dish, but rather a common preparation that is extremely useful, due to its many possible uses in cuisine. We're talking about stock. Surely, most of you already know what a stock is, but it's still necessary to provide a specific definition. It is, in fact, any product obtained by extracting flavors from different ingredients in water through a prolonged cooking process from cold. So, what allows us to distinguish and characterize one stock from another is not so much a preparation technique, but rather the choice and combinations of the ingredients themselves. The most common ones are vegetables, meat, fish, shellfish, herbs, and other spices. Today, we will show you how to make our version of two stocks that we can consider as fundaments of cuisine: vegetable stock and meat stock. Let's see the ingredients together. For the vegetable stock base, you'll need golden onions, carrots, celery, and plum tomatoes. For the meat stock, you will need a quarter of chicken, beef ribs, beef muscle, and as a vegetable base, we'll again use carrots, onions, and celery, but not tomatoes. Before we begin, a few clarifications. The recipes we're showing you are not definitive or official, so you have complete freedom to modify them. Depending on the intensity of flavors and aromas you want to develop in your stock, you can add, remove, or adjust the quantities of ingredients as you like. For these reasons, we haven't provided precise amounts to follow by the letter. Now we can finally begin, and we'll do it with easy stock to make, the vegetable one. Start by washing and peeling your vegetables to remove any dirt or traces of soil. Then, cut the celery and carrots into large pieces, while you can simply cut the onions and tomatoes in half. It may seem odd, but we assure you that once you've done this, you have already completed half the work for this recipe. Now, move to the stove and heat a pan over low heat. This will be used to dry just the previously cut onions. Cook the halves on both sides until they are slightly burnt. This is a simple trick to give your stock a brownish color. Then, grab a pot large enough to contain all your vegetables and arrange them at the bottom as even and compact as possible. For the liquid base of your stock, you will need cold water. Tap water works just fine. Pour water into the pot until the vegetables are completely covered and some of them start to float. Remember that, as a general rule, by adding more or less water, you will get a more or less concentrated stock. The last ingredient is coarse salt. Don't overdo it, as you can always add more later. Finally, place a lid on your pot and turn the stove to the lowest heat. During this cooking phase, the water will slowly heat up, allowing the vegetables to gradually release their flavors into the stock. To get the best final result, it's essential to not add ingredients to already boiling water. Once the stock begins to simmer, let it cook gently for about an hour to an hour and a half.
Afterward,
Turn off the heat and allow it to cool slowly to room temperature. As the final step of this recipe, simply strain your stock and remove the cooked vegetables. Be sure not to throw them away. You can always eat them as they are or use them in other recipes. As you can see, the final result will be a colorful, clear and aromatic stock. You can store it in the freezer or in a refrigerator if you plan to use it soon. Now let's move to the second recipe, a version of the meat stock. In reality, this preparation is almost the same, with just a few simple additional steps. After you once again prepared your vegetables and toasted the onion halves, we recommend also basting the chicken piece over the flame to remove any hairs or remaining processing residues. We had to use the stove, but if you have a kitchen torch, even better. Speaking of meats, always choose good quality ingredients, as it will help you get a better final result. Then, place all the ingredients into a large pot, still in a uniform and compact manner, starting with the vegetables at the bottom and finishing with the meat. Pour cold water into the pot until everything is just covered. Add the salt, place the lid on, and set the heat to low. In this case, the stock will need to simmer longer than the one previously made, to allow the beef and chicken to cook properly and release their flavors. However, monitor the first cooking phase, because in addition to the natural dissolved fats, impurities from the meat might rise, creating some kind of foam, as seen here. Don't worry, simply use a ladle or a strainer to remove as much of the foam as possible from the surface. After about 3 to 3.5 hours of simmering, your meat stock will be ready. Just like before, let it cool down to room temperature and finish by removing the meat and cooked vegetables. And then filtering it through a fine strainer. The stock you'll get might be slightly cloudy, which isn't a problem, but if you prefer a clearer product, you can strain it through a thin paper towel. Also, to lighten it further, you can remove some of the surface fat which will become solid during cooling. Once satisfied, always store it in the freezer, unless it will be used in the near future. And that's all, folks! We hope you enjoyed this first video of 2025. As always, let us know in the comments, and try replicating the recipes at home. You won't regret it. See you at the next jam.